Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3 in the series. We have MMA spawning as the red Terran on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, on the other side of Directly Watchtower Tournament Edition, we have Hasuobs spawning as the blue Protoss. Protoss versus Terran once more here on Directly Watchtower. So far, MMA does have a 2-0 lead in this series, as he has been able to just out macro and out micro his way in many of these games. Hasuobs putting up a very good fight, but one mistake is all that it takes to lose a game of StarCraft 2 at this level, and that is what we are seeing here. So far, Hasuobs is opening up with a pylon close to home, nothing out of the ordinary. MMA looks like he is going to be going for most likely a barracks and refinery build as well. How can I tell? I have absolutely no idea. I'm just making a guess. So far, we have been seeing a lot of different games come into play here, and I really do think MMA is going to be going for a barracks gas opening, just because a command center first on a map like this is rather risky. You do expand somewhat towards your opponent as you go ahead and place down a command center here. You can see that Hasuobs is doing a good job scouting out where any potential proxy barracks could be. And this is something that a lot of players have always wondered, like, how long do you scout out for proxy barracks? Now the question here is, well, you scout out enough to know, and then you go ahead and scout out your opponent's base. Just because I said that command center first would be rather dangerous, MMA decides to prove me wrong and show me that a command center first on Directly Watchtower is in fact viable. You can see the command center now coming in here. This probe is scouting out a bit later than normal. He will spot this command center now and now head up the ramp and spot also the barracks. There will be a slight delay on gas, as well as MMA is now just getting up as many SCVs as possible. The probe doing a little bit of a roundabout there, as we are going into the second barracks. A new supply depot may need to be placed down in just a moment as well. Actually, perhaps not, as we should have upgrades to an orbital command instead. Hasuobs pulling back with that scouting probe, waiting to get a little bit more hit points, a little bit more shield points on that probe, perhaps, before turning around and getting in a bit of damage. Now, what we could be seeing here, though, is Hasuobs could try and make a little bit of a play. He does have this probe. He can do a little bit of scouting, but more than likely, he's just going to go into the economic game. The economic game previously for Hasu was pretty favorable. He just ended up taking a little bit too long to respond with his High Templars. And in a Ghost versus High Templar matchup, it is all about timing. It is all about whoever hits first. A bit of glass cannons, a pair of glass cannons, if you know what I mean. And one glass cannon was able to shut down the other before the other was able to really do anything about it. Perhaps if they slowed the missile attack on an EMP shockwave just a little bit, that could have a tremendous amount of effect in these matchups. So far, though, MMA already salvaging that bunker, and this does come as a surprise to me because the game is so early on. He salvaged that bunker to get a faster command center, but right now, I wouldn't be surprised. He only got 75 extra minerals for it, so I don't really know if that was necessarily worth it. Having that bunker there, having a little bit more of a rested state of mind, so to speak. But he did scout out his opponent. He's counted the number of pylons. He pretty much saw what was happening inside here and goes, you know what? Anything that you play out right now, I can handle with Mass Marines. Mass Marines, very, very versatile units, able to hit ground or air. Just good in mass numbers. Target practice very good in the hands of very strong players, as the Stalker now perhaps trying to see what is on the high ground of this ramp. He believes that a bunker is there, but instead of a bunker, he will actually be dealing with 7 Marines, something that he does not want to go up against at all. Stalker now wandering around, making sure that there is nothing off over here, scouting out every which corner as it now heads back to his opponent's base. Now, what is MMA's follow-up going to be? You can see he is already researching STIM. Engineering Bay should be coming in momentarily. that third orbital command, really strong economic opening, allowing him to take that third base either here on the low ground or just train up SCVs to try and saturate the bases that he currently has. So far, though, he is going to be MMA is already rebuilding that bunker there, and that makes me just absolutely frustrated when I don't know if MMA really needed to salvage this bunker, 75 additional resources, or to get that extra orbital command in position, perhaps maybe 10 seconds earlier at most. All right, in comes the Marines. The Marines do find 2 stalkers on the ground. The stalkers shooting from afar, watching from afar, can pick off and almost take down a lone Marine there. There's some beautiful micro as Hasuobs has to be careful. He doesn't want to take any more damage on that back stalker, as it will be permanent damage. Instead, he just wants to try and trade shield points for hit points, so those medevacs will be lower on energy the moment they do come out. So far, there is the stock Marines again, and we could see a little bit of an engagement. Are we going to see? Yes, that Marine is going to be very low on hit points, and yes, does back off just in time. So far, no sight up onto the high ground, and Hasuobs foregoing the earlier robotics facility. This is a heavy rush into the Templar archives, which means that he is going to have a lot of Psi Storm. Now, I do like this play because it forces the Terran player to make the the Ghost Academy early. By getting that Ghost Academy early and then being forced to train up Ghost to really deal with the High Templars, he's not going to be able to train up medevacs. Now this is going to turn into a massive gateway push here. Zealots with legs. What's going to be happening? The Marines now trying to chase. The Marauders are there. No concussive shells. This has been something that's been bothering me as of late. Before, everyone always got concussive shells very early to try and chase down units. That is definitely no longer the case, as MMA has moved down and has already started to train up SCVs here at the 3 o'clock expansion location. Proxy Python now placed down in a rather unusual location. Will it get scouted out? The Marine perhaps will not see this at all, as we are now looking at a handful of Marines and just scouting every which corner. This 2-bait 8-gate, essentially, this 2-bait 8-gate is going to be very problematic, as the number of units coming out on the field will be tremendously high. Already Zealots warping in halfway across the field. This probe perhaps going to try to build another proxy pylon in this area, this arena here, as we are looking to start to reinforce. There is 1 Marine off in position. Mothership Core. That is a lot of High Templar with Psi Storm. This Psi Storm rush could potentially catch his opponent off guard completely, and that does seem to be the case. Medevacs are in position here. Are we going to see an engagement? Do we have even sentries? Yes, 3 sentries are in position, and now in come the engagement. There's some force field catching a lot of those Marines out of position there, as the Zealots now being forced to pull back. Unfortunately, Hasuobs now needs to deal with his own force fields, as the Psi Storm has torn through many of those Marauders and Marines. Alright, a fight up onto the high ground. Zealots are there. Guardian Shield is up. Psi Storm now coming in. More Psi Storm coming in. A whole bunch of SCVs going to be falling, and that is a complete kill right there. 11 workers killed, but how much damage was really done? Harvester count 50 compared to 47. And we are now looking at more reinforcements. Zealots now looking to come in. It looks like another High Templar will get taken down. Sentries are in position. The Marauders and the Marines are doing their best to stutter step, as the Zealots are now leading the charge. There are a whole bunch of Marauders down here. They need to get picked up. They will get picked up, as we are now looking at another Mothership Core pushing the way once again. Alright, this Archon needs to choose whether or not to fight or flee. It looks like it will be fleeing, as the Mothership Core now tries to see if, yes, this 3rd base can get destroyed. Archons are going to have a very good day here. How many kills? Already up to 7, but I believe many of that was just when they were in that High Templar mode. Alright, Zealots going after all these units here. High Templars able to run back. It looks as though the Marauders and the Marines are not giving chase, but this is going to be a rather sticky situation for the Marauders and the Marines now, as they're in a bad spot. Alright, what are we going to see? Psi Storm, and now doing a lot more damage once again. It looks like 1 lone Marauder will get taken down, and this High Templar will live to Psi Storm another day, if possible. Medevacs now coming back over here. We are finally getting up this third base, but there is nothing happening in terms of the Protoss side. Hasuobs is not spending his resources well. He is not going to be coming out of this nearly as strong as he could be, now only training up 2 probes at a time when he should be training 3, and he could just start saturating and getting a very strong advantage. Zealots now looking to clean up this base here, no mining going on, but this entire engagement, it cannot last for very long. Alright, an Archon now looking to engage there. There is a couple of force fields, trapping a couple of Marauders and Marines, but now those force fields are doing more harm than good, as the Marines are forced to back away again. Zealots going to finish off another refinery there, and then just prevent this orbital command from landing. And this is one of those things where players just may forget to land this orbital command over time. He doesn't want to land it. He doesn't want to commit to that location, as we're now looking at a counterattack coming in by MMA. However, MMA does spot it here. You can see that proxy pylon in the right spot to spot that there. The Zealots are now making their way over, and it looks as though, no, they are just going to be off over here instead. That pylon now warping in, more Zealots coming into position, and MMA realizes that he cannot really fight in that spot. Here we go, Zealots, High Templars, Sentries, and a handful of Stalkers. Is it going to be enough to engage the massive ground the small ground army here? The Zealots are now in a very good spot behind, as they're all running away. Oh, High Templar needs to back off once again. It looks like MMA has regrounded his army, or regrouped his army here. There is one, count it, one Widow Mine in position. I know this potentially could be very bad. There's a Psystorm. The Archon could be merging in momentarily. There is another High Templar in the back. Orbital Command down to 900 hit points and counting, as this one High Templar, oh goodness, down to 70 energy before it does get sniped down. Alright, Zealots looking to charge back down. The Marines and the Marauders in position here. There is still that Widow Mine. There are some force fields catching some of those units off guard, as the Widow Mine still keeping much of that army inside. There's a scanner sweep. This could be bad as well. The High Templar, or the Marines and the Marauders are right there. High Templar is in position here, and there you go. We could be getting in the counterattack. There is one lone Marine who realizes that he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. High Templars, what's happening here? Oh, did they forget to get recalled? That could be a problem. Did their army get recalled? Yes, the Mothership Corps recalled most of the army home, but forgot about the High Templar. Now you can see more and more units coming in there. This High Templar is going to get sniped down, but that is a whole bunch of low hit point Marines who are now desperately on the run. Stalkers still without blink, unable to catch up to those medevacs quickly enough to really snipe them down. It looks as though the medevacs are ready to go. Here you go, that Widow Mine still without a kill after so many minutes in this game, being burrowed right there. Medevac looking to drop straight up inside the base. However, there is one photon cannon in position. That photon cannon is getting some of those Marines. There goes one Marine. Another Marine could get taken down. Yes, there goes 2 Marines before the rest of the Marauders and the Marines have shown up to now clear up some of these probes. Probes desperately running back. There is one Zealot, 2 Zealots here, as the High Templar, are they going to be able to get a Sidestorm or a feedback there? It doesn't look like it, as the Stalkers quickly focus down the medevac and then clean up the rest of the Marines. Alright, that Sidestorm definitely doing more harm than good, dealing damage to that Zealot, but no critical damage dealt, so I guess it was a good enough trade, as we're looking on 3 bases to 3 after all of the action. So far, MMA has lost a little bit more. More importantly, Hasuobs has had a stronger economy for longer, allowing him to have a very, very large supply advantage. Army supply is even. However, the workers is really where it is all at. That orbital command being forced to lift off for so long, now finally landing, as MMA does have 3 mules here just trying to strip mine the 3 o'clock location. Marines, Marauders, Medevacs looking to push back in again. Here you go. There's another engagement. The Medevacs are all running away, as we now see a massive front coming in here. Marines quickly getting into position. Stalkers are here as well, as a beautiful Psystorm comes in. And Hasuobs has really been using Psystorm extremely effectively throughout this matchup. You can see now another engagement here. A sea of red versus a puddle of blue. But the puddle of blue doesn't show Psystorm. And that Psystorm is just tearing apart much of that Terran army. Alright, more Ghosts now taken down. We could perhaps see some EMP shockwaves. Nope, the Zealots are all trying to run back. Somehow these Marines, the best Marines in the world, incapable of friendly fire when trying to target units just beyond sight range there, as the Zealots are now pulling back again. Here we go. Stalkers, Zealots, Immortals, Sentries, High Templar all working together, and it looks like Hasuobs does have a bit of the momentum on his side. Will it carry over? There are a lot of ghosts on the field. Plenty of EMP Shockwave ready to just lay waste to this army, to this unsuspecting Protoss army in a matter of moments. Zealots, Stalkers, Immortals, Sentries, Mothership Core, still no Colossus as of yet, as we now see one lone Zealot trying to chase after this Marine. It is going to get taken down. That Marine trying to run away. It doesn't look like it should win that foot race, especially with charge just about to finish, and there it goes. So far, though, we are still pretty even. Army supply 132 to 124. Taking a look at the losses, Terran has lost a bit more. MMA is in trouble here. The Ghosts, plenty of them for massive EMP shockwaves. One lone Zealot runs off to the north. One lone Zealot runs to the south. There's 200 minerals quick. All of a sudden lost in a moment's notice, as the Zealots are now looking to charge up the ramp and perhaps fight behind enemy lines. Alright, Widowmine does get the shot off there. Gets finally a kill, as the Zealots are now just doing target practice against supply depots. Alright, the supply depots, before they catch on fire, do end up getting saved by the Marauders, but in comes the rest of this Terran army, ready to fight again another day. Alright, one lone Zealot tries to activate the Zonago Tower. It will get taken down, and this is a game about positioning. Both players are doing their best to scout out the map, figure out where the other player is. Hasuobs actually has a lot less sight. He does have a better situation going on for him, since he does have the expansion over here at the 7 o'clock position, but he has to be careful in how he holds it. He is going to be trying to travel to the north while holding onto an expansion to the south, and this group of Marauders and Marines with medevac support should be able to at least make a dent here. You can see now photon cannons are trying to be warped in, but it does take some time. The Stalkers do blink forward though, and now with this base up and running, Hasuobs now takes a commanding economic lead. The income is even for now, ever so barely, but we are getting a lot more gas. You can see now that the factory off in the center of the map, it could get shot down any moment here. The command center most likely going to be upgrading to a planetary fortress. MMA does spot the pylon here, as the Zealots, 5 of them, are now ready to warp in. So far, these destructible rocks will get taken down. This does open up the map tremendously, as this command center will most likely get cancelled in its upgrade to a planetary fortress. Stalkers and Zealots have arrived to the party. There goes a couple of Marines. The Marauders are in position. There's the Stalkers. Oh, blinking to the Vikings just in time, but that was not a good engagement overall. You can see that there are a handful of units now stuck behind the force field, and we are now looking at this command center trying to retreat. Will it be able to get away? There are Stalkers all here, Sentries, everyone just trying to poke apart this command center. This pylon, 30 hit points away from death, as the command center gonna get into fatal damage here. Yep, now gonna start roasting and toasting and getting burnt to a crisp. Bottom right hand side of the map, yes, all of the materials does fall apart in space and die. Not quite sure how gravity works in, well, I know how gravity doesn't work in space, but that's another issue all in completely. Now, there is one lone Zealot here. The Stalkers, oh, Psystorm, beautiful use of Time Warp and Psystorm together to prevent those Marauders from being able to escape. You can so far see that there is one lone Zealot with 2 Stalkers looking to clean up many more of these workers here. 37 workers killed. The Protoss with a tremendous advantage now, setting up his 5th base, as his 2nd base is gonna get taken down. There's still a little bit of gas remaining at the natural expansions. Meanwhile here, plenty of gas for MMA. MMA could consider going into Ravens at this point, hoping to trade energy for units just like the High Templar. That's the reason why those High Templars have been getting a lot of mileage, staying up on life, just trading very, very efficiently as the Zealots now make their way after some of these SCVs and other workers. Marauders and Marines have arrived. Squadron of Vikings now looking to fly around here. These destructible rocks or this destructible debris will get taken down in a matter of moments. There it goes as the Zealots now charge up and down the ramp. We are getting repositioned, and here we go. The Dark Templar, EMP Shockwave reveals that Dark Templar right there. The Stalkers, however, quickly blink forward. What is going on in the Planetary Fortress? Sniped down an SCV, but taking a lot of damage onto those Stalkers. I would not suggest that at all. We are going into a 3-3. We are already at 3-3 upgrades with level 1 shield upgrades now coming online. Proxy pylon being placed off to the north. Already 2 to the or 1 to the south with a photon cannon there. And there is the engagement. There's a time warp, and the ghosts are all right there. However, they're going to get swiped down rather easily. Vikings flying overhead. Do they fly slower through a time warp? I believe it's only the ground units, but I will have to double check for that, as the Vikings, currently 14 in the air with 2-0 upgrades, can make short work of those Colossus. Ghost now leading the way. There's some EMP shockwaves once again, and just completely destroying all of the shields on that army. However, a Psystorm does come down in time, acting as a little bit of a deterrent to fly. The High Templars now without energy whatsoever, and this is looking very good. MMA coming up with a very strong push here, and it looks as though the Vikings are just going to continue to finish off all of the Colossus once again, engaging their VTOL, making sure to land, as the High Templars are now pretty much all out of energy. The Ghost now being forced to back off there, as the Ghosts taking a lot of damage just sitting in Psystorm. Here's the engagement. The Vikings are rather large units, so their DPS for their size is not as good as a Marauder or a Marine, but they are still adding in a little bit more damage. No good being in the air. Dark Templars now leading the way again, acting as a bit of a wall, and the Vikings are actually getting a bit choked up. The problem here is that those Vikings are not like Hellbats. While their VTOL is engaged, they cannot get healed. They are not biological mechanical units at all. And there you have it. The Stalkers are now just trying to catch up to the rest of the units. All right, a pretty much full medevac taken down there, and MMA was able to do a bit of a strong push, but I believe he just did not have enough breath in him to take down and blow apart the bases here. It looks like Hasuobs is now starting his own counterattack, his own wave, and there is the GG from MMA. Hasuobs taking a game from MMA in this best of 5. Please stay tuned for Game 4 in this best of 5 between MMA and Hasuobs.